Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between Nani versus RGN's Artist here on Antigua Shipyard. Nani spawning as the orange Protoss player at the 7 or 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, RGN's Artist spawning over here as the teal or light blue Terran. So this is going to be Terran versus Toss. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. We'll see what's going to go down in this particular matchup. So Terran versus Toss on Antigua Shipyard. Now, taking a look at the map and how everything is situated, I would say that Artist has a slight advantage over his opponent. Not as much as if Nani was a Zerg player, as 3 bases are much more important for Zerg than, say, Protoss or Terran. But because of the close proximity of this high ground third base, the fact that you could use siege tanks here to kind of cover your entrance within the realms of your base, it really should make for a rather interesting matchup. Nani maybe tried to force to try to expand into this third base location as the game gets underway. You can now see Artist most likely will be setting up that front door barracks back over here. Meanwhile, you can see the pylon is already down for Nani. No weird shenanigans going on from Nani. Pretty much doing a very economic build. Going to be chrono boosting out a lot of probes. Not quite sure why he didn't chrono boost it out earlier if he wasn't going to go for an earlier gateway. And taking a look at this, Nani may be going for something really greedy and maybe trying to go for a 16 Nexus. A 16 Nexus is one of those strategies, or 15-16 Nexus is one of those strategies which is very risky in the early portion of the game. But if it pays off, you do get a lot of minerals early on. Nani now going to warp in that Nexus here down on the low ground as this game does get underway, and we'll see what Artist is going to do. Artist looks like he's going to be going for perhaps an 18 command center. I would rather wish that Artist did the traditional, less risky Reaper expand, as the Reaper would have been able to deal a lot of damage to probes, as there wouldn't be any stalkers for quite some time. SCV now making his rounds out. SCV down over here should be setting up a command center in just a moment as well. And this is promising to be a rather long game, as a Marine now finally makes the trek out. Orbital Command is already being upgraded. You can now see an SCV coming up the ramp. He is going to spot a Nexus and a Pylon already down here, and he knows that pretty much his opponent is now just getting gateways. A probe now making its way over as we are now getting an assimilator up and running. The Zealot most likely will be trained, but it is just going to be purely on defense. This Marine over here just going to be sitting there as well as the probe, the probe and SCV try to battle it out just a little bit, trying to do a little bit of, oh, is he going to actually stop? Oh, yeah, he does stop for just a little bit, and now comes back on the inside of the base. He will see that a Zealot is being chrono boosted out, and now knows that he does have a limited amount of time, as we now see double assimilators coming in from Nani. So Nani going into an expansion very quickly, and then going into double gas very quickly as well. A rather strange opening. Perhaps he wants to go for a fast expansion into 3-gate sentries in order to block off. I can't imagine him teching too quickly, as he does not have any scouting information as of yet. We can see that the second gas is now up and running for Artist, and now we currently have 3 SCVs on gas in each of these refineries. A lot more barracks are being trained up. We should be adding in some tech labs as well in order to get reactors, stim pack, and combat shield, the all-powerful upgrades for the Terran infantry that makes them ever so deadly. Taking a look at Nani, Nani currently sitting on a lot of energy on the Nexus and still has a room to chrono boost out. I'm not 100% sure what he wants to do with that. He is chrono boosting out the cybernetics core for that warp gate, and I would naturally assume that he should be continuing to chrono boost out, as he still has about another 60 or another 70 seconds or so, as a SCV is unable to get by. So one more chrono boost may come in, as we do have plenty of energy on the Nexus over here at the natural expansion. Orbital Command has been upgraded by Artist as well. Harvester count 31 compared to 25. I'm still a little curious as to why Nani is deciding to save up so much energy, and it may just be for a crazy number of 6-gate push. So what he could try to do is he could just bank a lot of resources there. There's another Chrono Boost onto that Cybernetics core right there. It's a little bit later than I would have liked to have seen it. If he had 2 more Chrono Boosts, he could have gotten these into warp gates faster, but then these gateways would not be powered anyway. So we're going to see a very heavy push come in from Nani. Nani already has some sentries in the field, more units making their way into the field. A proxy pylon should be set up over here perhaps, and as that is set up, then this is going to become a very, very difficult location to defend. But there is a very little surface area for the Zealots. But then on top of that, Stalkers could be coming in. A probe just running straight into the group there. A Marauder is his trained. No concussive shells just quite yet. You do need those concussive shells in order to slow down the Zealots and reduce the amount of damage that will be done. Artist triple bunkering up. And will it be enough is the key question. SCVs all done. Perhaps a Marine should pop out in order to make room for another Marauder. Marauders do get that +1 range. And now SCVs are coming in. Hold position right here. Is it going to be enough? There's a Marauder in this group. And here you go. Trying to bust through that door and not going to be able to make through it. But all he needs is another round of warp in to perhaps continually apply that pressure. He needs to be careful though. If he had sight up onto the high ground, that would perhaps be better. But without any sight, it is going to make it a little bit more difficult. Double Forge now coming in as well, so we could be going into massive upgrades for Nani. He is currently chrono boosting out probes as well. Harvester count 45 to 39. As I think Artis is just too well fortified with this triple bunker supply depot wall. And now all Nani can really do is pack up his toys and go home. 49 probes versus 40 SCVs. We'll see what Artist is going to follow this up with. He is now transitioning into the late game, and it looks like it is going to be your standard starport factory, building that reactor. Level 1 weapons upgrade, level 1 armor upgrades will most likely be coming in next, as well as Marines and Marauders are still being added to this group. There is a good number of sentries and zealots now, and we are now going into Zealot charge. So very interesting. This is the natural transition from the 6th gate. When you know that your opponent, when you know that you have a lot of gateway units, get that Twilight Council, get the charge, get the blink. It is very, very beneficial and in your favor to get those upgrades, as those upgrades really help out. And now level 2 weapons upgrade maybe coming in, and Nani maybe just doing a bit of a timing here. He does have a lot of energy on these nexuses. Someone says it's a Nexi. I'm not 100% sure about that. Nexuses. Anyways, back over here, you can see that there is a probe here, and now we could be getting a Nexus down over here as well for that all-important third base. The factory realizing that it should really be trying to scout down over here, as we are now going into Ghost and going into an armory as well. Level 1 weapons upgrade just now completing. Is level 2 going to get started? It looks like it has. Level 2 weapons and armor upgrades getting started right behind it, and still having plenty of energy for chrono boost. The factory is still floating around, and this one proxy pylon easily destroyed. As I'm still surprised that Artis has not built a command center here to lift off and land here. Artis is now currently behind 51 harvesters compared to 61. The mules are helping him out, and you can still see that Nani has not warped in his nexus over here at the third base location, finally doing so, and we'll see how all of this unfolds. We do have the Templar archives, and now are we going to go into Archons? Yes, a lot more Protoss players favoring Archons now as opposed to Colossi. Colossi easily get taken down by Vikings, but Archons with that superior range now, and also some minor splash damage, and also no need to go into Robotics Bay. It really helps out early on in those early battles where the Robotics Bay and that early and the Robotics Bay, the extended thermal lance range, and the Robotics facility are all pretty useless until you get those Colossi up. But I would at least like to see an observer nearby, as we currently see no Psy Storm being researched. Third base is being set up by Artis. This is a little bit of a stalemate right now. No one wants to engage. Both sides with rather large armies that can easily defeat the other, given the proper micro and execution. We'll see how all of this works out. Ghost hiding back over here. All the Ghost in one control group. Very, be sure to do that if you are a Terran player, as Ghosts tend to line up in front of your Marauders and your Marines. And in doing so, you can't stim as you normally would. Probes now being transferred over to this third base, and we are still chrono boosting out and getting the level 3 weapons upgrades. So that really utilizing the superior or the lower cost upgrades now for Protoss. Scanner Sweep pretty much reveals nothing at all as more gateways coming in. Factories still flying around. There is one observer out, and I'm not quite sure where the robotics facility is. There it is. So there's the robotics facility for observers, just in case there are any Banshees out in play, as both players just have plenty of sight. SCV is going to work here, and we are just simply waiting for the next engagement, and when will it go down and who will come out ahead. Just finishing the level 2 weapons upgrade and just starting the level 2 armor upgrades for the Terran bio. Meanwhile, level 3 weapons upgrades and armor upgrades being chrono boosted out at a very fast rate. 220 seconds with constant chrono boost. Oh, poor Marine running into a group there, and we are gonna have a lot of Archons. Those Archons, and they probably wish there was shield upgrades over armor upgrades. We'll see how this is all going to work out as the Marauder does spot it. Does the Marauder spot it? Yes, the Scanner Sweep does see that this front back door is going to completely be opened up. Mass Zealots, and Zealots in this number are very difficult to deal with. EMP Shockwave may work out. We'll see who's going to be able to execute better. There are sentries as well. The sentries need to, perhaps if they can get up onto the ramp, drop force fields, and then deny this expansion. That would be a terrible blow, as the engagement about to come in. And here you go. Engagement now going in. Archon going to try to engage, and now Archon's pushing in. EMP Shockwave missing the majority of the units, as the Zealots are now going to run straight into the main base here and get in a lot of damage going after SCVs. The Zealots do have level 2 weapons upgrade, dealing 20 damage per slice. Poor SCVs just getting absolutely torn apart, as the Ghost may be able to get some EMP Shockwaves. Archon's very low on hit points. There goes another Archon there, and more EMP Shockwaves as the units are just trying to run around. In comes the Stim. Some force fields finally go down, as the Zealots have finished off and almost taken down that orbital command there. So the force fields perfectly placed down, as RG and Artist now being forced to try to catch up with the rest of this group here. Zealots going after the Marauders here. Marines just being rallied into this location. The Zealots are so powerful at 3-3 upgrades, taking down Marauder and Marine. Going after SCVs as well. Gonna take down another Marine as the main army now returns. Artist is in a bit of trouble. The Protoss army warp gate cooldown is ready, so in a couple of seconds I assume that we should be getting a lot of warp gates in just a moment, or a lot of warp gate units in just a moment, as probes now being escorted and transferred off to the north. There is one Marine holding this location here, but it will not get scouted out, as the proxy, as the bases has been reestablished over here instead. Zealots now gonna perhaps try to do another run in on the far side with this proxy pylon here. So really well played by Nani, and I think Nani's going to get even more SCV kills in just a moment, as we are going to have a very large engagement in the center. Zealots simply running through. Zealots going to deal 22 damage per attack now. Level 3 weapons upgrade, and now the Marauder is going to try to come in. Units are coming back to reinforce, but losing a lot of mining time, as Nani able to shut down mining for a good 30-40 seconds. And there you go. All of those SCVs are back, but they are going to take a little bit of time to get back into position. Vikings are now being trained, or the ship upgrades. Not quite. There is 2 Colossi now in this group as well. Armor upgrades are going to make it very difficult, as we are now even getting some shield upgrades. So the Archons actually going to benefit, as well as shield upgrades could be added. Shield upgrades are a little bit cheaper now. I believe 225 or 250. I can't see because my little overlay is actually there on the screen. Now, Archons are in position. You can see, oh, a nice Psystorm and feedback. Marauders, oh, another Psystorm being cast as well. Massive EMPs. Archons now in trouble. Those Archons should perhaps be moved to the back of the group. Those are very expensive and are just going to get torn apart in just a moment. There goes the 2 Archons. There, and in comes this battle here. Colossi, Zealots, Sentries, Marauders, and Marines. Both sides engaging. but the Terran Bio Ball, it may be a little bit too powerful here. There is another, Psystorm could be raining down. Yes, raining down there. Another Psystorm should be coming in up onto the high ground there. There you go. Artist losing a lot, but Artist still having the larger force. Are we going to have enough? If those Colossi come out, they are going to get destroyed in a matter of seconds. There are Vikings in position. Probes coming off the mineral line, and all that harassment. There's the Manor Mules. Artist saying, get the heck out of here. I've won this game. I'm now in your base, and there's not much you can do. Going after the robotics facility, one is down. A second robotics facility gonna get taken down as well. Nani now down to 65 food. There is this base off over here, but not much is gonna be had there, as the mules, not even on auto repair, could perhaps try to repair some of these medevacs as well. Vikings now continue to push their way in. Zealots, more warp gates on, all being chrono boosted. They're all gonna warp in back along here. Plenty of resources, but Nani just was never able to engage. Vikings now in the ground mode. The mules just sitting there looking all happy, as the Marauders and the Marines are gonna force the GG here in just a moment. The surround gonna come in, but all of that harassment from Nani not enough, as the 3-3 Marines combat and take down the 3-3 gateway units, and there is game 1. So game 1 in this series. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 1 in the series. Stay tuned for game 2.